So I'm just going to come right out and say it. SMART goals are dead. New Year's resolutions are dead. I think in the last couple of years, you've seen people kind of like trending away from those topics and more into setting systems. And as you think of like, we're in April right now, we just started Q2, I think this is where SMART goals and New Year's resolutions really start to show their weaknesses. Like, I think this is a time of year when people are starting to get demotivated. They're starting to start getting detached from those resolutions they started at the new year. And so this is the point of the year when people's systems really come into play, and how they set their intentions is really starting to affect them once we're getting further and further and further away from that point of origin. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I have had to really kick into gear with some of my good strategies for staying motivated, because it's been 4 months and I have big income goals, and I'm moving to San Francisco, so there's a lot of like income goals that I'm trying to really kick into gear. And so the last couple years, I've routinely reached all of my goals really easily, and that's just because I've read a ton of books on the subject. I'm getting project manager certified right now, and I'm just obsessed with the topic. And so I think that I have some really good strategies to share with you. Some things really didn't work for me, and I've filtered through all the stuff. So yeah, I think by the end of this, you're going to be able to set goals in a way that really feels right to you, in a way that you can really stick with throughout the whole year. So the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to take one goal and I'm going to make it like 1 degree better, and we're going to step it up incrementally until we're left with this goal that is really motivating and you're able to stick with it throughout the full year, and you're not just gonna quit it after a couple months like SMART. Okay, so let's start with the first mistake and kind of hang up I see when people are setting New Year's resolutions. So if I had been in their shoes and I was making this mistake, my goal for the year might have sounded like, I want to make more money on YouTube. I want to have more subscribers. I want to have more views on YouTube. It might have included things like I want to do more dancing, travel more. And typically when I hear people setting New Year's resolutions, they have a lot of them. So this is kind of the first mistake, is these are people who don't routinely reach their goals. And if you're someone who doesn't routinely reach your goals, you're kind of like a beginner in the achievement part of goal setting, I really recommend just starting with one, especially if it's a goal that's going to take you a year to complete. You don't need 10 year-long goals. These are big projects, and so you need all of your focus funneled in one direction, especially if you don't have experience. So the way I might fix all that is I would just funnel into one, and I would say, okay, the priority for me in my values is that I want to make more money on YouTube. So I think I'm just going to focus on the financial side. That's really why I want the views and the subscribers, is really for the financial aspect. So then after I've chosen one, I'm going to try to make it a SMART goal, make it specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. And so the fact that it's like a yearly goal already makes it time-bound. So I would say that I would like to routinely be making $4,000, so that makes it measurable. As soon as you got numbers in there, it makes it measurable. So I would like to routinely be making $4,000 months from Google AdSense, because I have different revenue streams coming in, by the end of this year. And so that makes it time-bound. It makes it presumably realistic. That is kind of the issue with SMART goals, is as soon as they're like a year long, it becomes kind of hard to judge if it's realistic or not, and what you can realistically do in that specific amount of time. So what I see a lot of people doing is they set these goals and they think it's a realistic amount that they can get done in that time. They're not right sure. And then they just charge forward in that direction. They're like, okay, got the goal. I'm at the beginning, perfect. I'm just going to start walking in that direction. And this is where a lot of people stop. And you cannot stop at this point because you don't have a clear path. You have the end point, you have the start point, but you have not mapped out the path to get there. And this brings me how I'm going to make this goal even better with this third strategy. So for this third out of the 5 strategies, the issue that we're trying to combat is that people are going from the beginning and going to the end point. What you really need to do is get a path in that direction. And the way you need to do that is work your way backwards. Now, this is something that kind of intuitively makes sense to people. Like, yeah, you got to start with the end in mind, but a lot of people don't do it. So for my case, if I said, okay, I want to be making $4,000 months by the end of the year, and I would like that to incrementally build up, and let's say it was going to build up evenly, then if I want to make $4,000 months by the end, then maybe my income needs to increase $1,000 every quarter if it was going to go up evenly. So my income's going to go up 1,000 quarter 1, up 1,000 quarter 2, and it'll just go up until we've gone up and we're at $4,000. So then I'll chunk back. Okay, so if I need to every quarter make $1,000, then that's like $333 my income needs to go up every month. Okay, so if it needs to go up like $300, let's round it up to $400 every month, that's $100 every week. So then you can start seeing, once you've segmented it back, then you can really see, is it realistic or not? Once you've gotten down to the smaller level and you see what you need to get done this week, all of a sudden you're like, oh, maybe that's a lot. Maybe I can't have my income go up $100 a week. Maybe that's not realistic. And so this is the value of segmentation. So this is the strategy that this is really all about. You take the whole goal that's a year long and you segment it to smaller and smaller chunks of time. You say, what do I need to do each quarter? What do I need to do each month? What do I need to do each week? And that is such a valuable strategy. Now, this strategy is not complete in and of itself because you say, okay, I need my income to go up $100 every week. How do I do that? It's not just magically going to do that. And so this brings us into the next strategy because you need a little bit more than what we have here to do is, since we know, okay, my revenue needs to increase $100 each week. So we say to ourselves, what do I need to do to actually make that happen? This is where a lot of people just kind of get tripped up. They just kind of just start walking in that direction somehow. But what you need is actually two types of goals, because all of these goals that we've been setting so far, like I want to make $4,000 a month. This is just an outcome. And so far we haven't outlined what I am going to do in order to make that happen. So you actually need to set two types of goals. Some people call these input versus output goals. I call these action versus outcome goals. That's what I've called them before I knew about the input-output terms. But basically, it's what actions do you need to take to produce a certain outcome. A lot of people will set goals, okay, this is the outcome, this is the outcome, this is the outcome, but they don't focus on what are they going to do? What actions are they going to put in? So in this case, if I want the outcome to be $4,000 months, there are going to be some actions that I need to set, and I need to set both of these things. Okay, this is where the income's going to be, and I track that, segment that backwards, and I'm also going to segment back different actions that I'm going to take. So maybe I could post more videos, maybe I could focus on search bar content, maybe I could focus on view velocity, and I would detail all of these things out, and I'm going to experiment with them, and I'm going to try all these things. If you had a weight loss goal, then your goal might be, I want to lose 50 pounds, but then you also need to set the actions. Okay, so I'm going to create a meal plan, I'm going to work out, I'm going to get a gym membership, I'm going to drink more water, the specific actions that you're going to take to actually make that happen. And this is so effective because this is where you start getting into the system of how this thing is actually going to work. Now, the issue that arises with this is typically when you set your goal, okay, I want to lose 50 pounds, and then you set the actions you're going to do, that gets very routine. All of a sudden, once you're 4 months into it, you say, yep, working out every week, yep, eating the good foods every week. And this is where you really start to run into some issues because it's been 3-4 months and it just turns into a routine. It turns into a rut, and you kind of get detached from the initial vision that you had if you don't have some sort of routine that's going to make you reinvigorated for your goals again. The final goal setting technique that we need is we need a way to get beyond the maintenance of things. We need a way to get re-inspired and to re-innovate. I see it as there are kind of like 3 levels when you think of a goal. You're innovating, you're iterating, or you're dying. And those are basically the 3 levels. And anytime you get to iterating, you're all of a sudden really close to falling off and that goal just dying. So I have 2 methods for how I stay away from kind of that maintenance mode, that iteration mode, and get into kind of an innovative mindset. So the first thing are things I do daily, and then the other segment of things are things that I do quarterly, and that is so impactful. So I'll start with the things that I do daily. So I have 2 main practices that kind of help with this. The first one is a gratitude practice. And the reason a gratitude practice is so important is because if you're really goal-oriented and you're thinking about, okay, I'm going to lose this weight, I'm going to grow this YouTube channel, sometimes you can get to this mind frame where you're thinking about the lack. And you're thinking about, I'm not there yet. My channel's not where I want it to be yet. I'm not at the weight I want to be right now. And sometimes when you're so focused on that lack, it can get discouraging and then you fall off. So it's important to focus on what you do have. And it's kind of this paradox of being so grateful for what you do have and still reaching for more and wanting more. And it's kind of a paradox. It's a tension, and it's really important to intentionally balance those 2 things. The second thing I do daily is I have Rachel Hollis's Start Today journal. And in that journal, you write 10 things every day that you want to make happen, your big visions. So every day I'm writing down, I want to be a conference speaker. I want to have a retreat center. I want to have a 1 million subscriber YouTube channel. And I'm writing these things so that while I'm down in the trenches, I'm down in the rut, I'm reminding myself, hey, this is what I want to do. You're doing this for a reason. The reason that you're doing this day in and day out is for a reason and for a purpose. And it helps me stay re-motivated and realigned. The second thing that I do is I focus every quarter on a new initiative. So when I set goals, it's important that I've got my long-term goal. Okay, I want to post 4 videos a week, let's say, but that can get just maintenance, iteration. 4 videos this week, 4 more videos this week. And we're just, on the content hamster wheel. And so it's important that you don't only have maintenance goals, but that you also have initiatives. So some people call this iteration versus innovation, or you could think of it like maintenance versus initiatives. So every quarter I like to have a new initiative to kind of reinvigorate me. So I've got this whole goal of growing the YouTube channel. Quarter 1 or like quarter 4, let's say, I'm focusing on the planner. Quarter 2, I'm focusing on starting like the membership and a mastermind. Quarter 3, I'm doing this. And that is so important to have these new initiatives because it keeps you 2 levels away from death. Like we said, the goal's dying. 1 level up is you're iterating on the goal. A level up is you're innovating on the goal. So it's really important to stay up there at that innovation level. So one way that I do this is I take the final week off of every quarter, and I do it very intentionally. So I intentionally am off tech, I'm doing reading, I'm doing a lot of journaling on what I want, and it's really to reset my mind and make me trust my intuition and my decision-making skills so that I can go into the next quarter reinvigorated and re-energized, because you have to stay connected and get reconnected to the vision somehow. And so I just did this last week, and I got so much more reconnected. This is what I want. So if this is what I want 10 years from now, this is what I need to be doing right now, and it kind of remotivates me to the bigger purpose behind what I'm doing. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, check out this next one. I'll see you guys in the next one.